One sunny afternoon, Sonic the Hedgehog and his friends, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Cream, and Cheese, were gathered at their favorite hangout spot, a sprawling skate park on the outskirts of Green Hill Zone. The park was a paradise for skaters, with ramps, half-pipes, and rails scattered across its vast terrain. The sky was clear, and the air was filled with the sound of wheels rolling on concrete and the occasional cheer from the skaters. Sonic, with his natural love for speed, was already racing around the park on his skateboard, performing tricks with ease. He had always been a natural at anything that involved moving fast, and skateboarding was no exception. Tails, ever the inventor, had modified his own board with special gadgets, making him a formidable opponent in any skate competition. Knuckles, known for his strength, was showing off his ability to grind on rails with perfect balance, while Amy was practicing her jumps and spins, determined to improve her skills. As they were skating, Sonic suddenly had an idea. "Hey guys, how about we have a skateboarding tournament? We can invite our friends from the Paw Patrol and see who's the best skater around." Everyone immediately agreed. The idea of a friendly competition excited them, and they knew it would be a lot of fun. Sonic quickly pulled out his communicator and contacted Ryder. It didn't take long for Ryder and the Paw Patrol pups, Chase, Marshall, Sky, and Rubble, to arrive at the skate park, ready to join in the action. "All right, here's how it's going to work," Sonic explained as everyone gathered around. "We'll have a series of one-on-one races and trick contests. The winners will move on to the next round, and eventually, we'll have a final showdown to determine the ultimate skater." Ryder nodded in agreement, and the teams were quickly formed. The first round of the tournament began with Sonic facing off against Chase, the police pup. The course was set, a challenging route through the park, filled with ramps, obstacles, and steep drops. As the whistle blew, Sonic and Chase took off, their boards zooming across the concrete. Sonic, with his incredible speed, took an early lead, but Chase was right on his tail. The pup, with his natural agility, managed to keep up, dodging obstacles and even pulling off a few tricks as he went. But as they neared the finish line, Sonic used his signature spin dash move, launching himself forward and crossing the line just ahead of Chase. The crowd, which had gathered to watch, erupted in cheers. "That was close, Chase," Sonic said, giving his friend a high five. "You almost had me there." Next up was Tails versus Sky. Tails, with his modified board, had a few tricks up his sleeve, literally. His board was equipped with small jets that allowed him to hover for a short distance, giving him an edge in the trick contest. Sky, however, was no slouch. With her love of flying, she had a natural sense of balance and could perform impressive aerial tricks. The two competitors started their run, with Sky pulling off a series of flips and spins that left the audience in awe. But Tails, using his jets, managed to hover above the half-pipe before executing a flawless 720-degree spin. The judges, which included Ryder and Cream, were impressed by both, but in the end, Tails' technical prowess gave him the win. The competition continued, with each round showcasing the skills and creativity of the skaters. Knuckles faced off against Rubble, and while Rubble's strength allowed him to power through some of the tougher sections of the course, Knuckles' experience and agility gave him the edge. Amy went up against Marshall, and despite Marshall's enthusiasm, Amy's determination and practice paid off as she nailed a series of jumps that secured her victory. As the tournament progressed, it became clear that the final showdown would be between Sonic and Tails. The two friends stood at the top of the biggest ramp in the park, their boards ready. The course for the final race was the most challenging yet, with multiple levels, sharp turns, and a huge gap that they would need to clear with a jump. The crowd fell silent as the two competitors prepared to start. Then, with a shout from Ryder, they were off. Sonic and Tails raced down the ramp, their boards almost flying off the ground with the speed they were generating. Tails, using his jets, managed to stay level with Sonic, who was using every ounce of his speed to stay ahead. As they approached the gap, Sonic took the lead, launching himself into the air with a perfect spin. Tails followed, using his jets to hover and perform a mid-air trick. The crowd gasped as both skaters landed perfectly on the other side, their boards barely touching the ground before they sped off again. And the final stretch, it was neck and neck. Sonic and Tails were side by side, each pushing their limits. But in the last moment, Sonic managed to pull ahead, crossing the finish line just a fraction of a second before Tails. The crowd erupted in applause as Sonic raised his arms in victory. "Great race, Tails," Sonic said, turning to his friend. "You almost had me there." Tails smiled, happy to have been part of such an exciting competition. "Thanks, Sonic. That was a blast." With the tournament over, everyone gathered to celebrate. Ryder and the pups had brought along some snacks, and they all sat down to enjoy a well-earned rest. The sun was beginning to set, casting a warm glow over the park, and the friends shared stories and laughs as they relaxed. As they finished their snacks, Sonic stood up and looked around at his friends. "You know," he said, "this was a pretty awesome day, but I think the best part was just being here with all of you." Everyone agreed, and as the last rays of the sun dipped below the horizon, they knew that they had created memories that would last a lifetime. And though the tournament was over, they all knew that there would be plenty more adventures and plenty more skateboarding in the future.